Hello everyone. In this lesson, we're going to do a brief introduction to linear models or linear regression and how to calculate them. After verifying the linear correlation between two variables is significant, you're going to want to then determine what equation of a line best models this data. So this line is called a regression line, and its equation can be used to predict the values of y for some given x. So although many lines can be drawn through a set of points, the regression line is going to be the one that gives us some specific criteria to determine it as a best fit line. So how do we find this regression line? Well, for each data point, we're going to have a variable di, which just represents the distance between the observed value y and the predicted value y. That is to say, that if we have a graph like this, let's say we have some data points, and we have a best fit line. So D1 would be the distance between the first data point and its predicted, which of course is given by this line. D2 would be the distance from the second data point and the line. You get D3, D4, and D5 in this case. So d sub I is just going to be the distance from our actual data point. In this case, this would be y1, and then our predicted data point. Well, this would be y hat 1. These differences are called residuals or errors, and they can be positive, they can be negative, or they even could be 0 if your prediction is exactly the same as the actual value. Now, when a point is above the line like this is when d sub I is going to be positive. When your actual data point is below the line, this is when d sub I is going to be negative. And if it's on your prediction line, your regression line, this is when it's going to be 0. Now, I mentioned previously that you could actually have an infinite number of possible lines to predict what's possible with these data points. So what is it that makes the regression line the regression line? So of all these possible lines that can be drawn with our data, the regression line is going to be the one that minimizes the sum of the squares of all the residuals. So the residuals, again, being the error, you're going to take the sum of all of those squared, and you're going to look for the line that minimizes it, which means basically like this. If I have some data points, I'm just going to do 3 for ease. Let's say I have a line right here. I'm going to have some residuals for each of these. And then maybe I have another line. I tried this one. And again, I figure out what the residuals are for these. And I pretty much am comparing them. I'm looking for the line that has the smallest amount of error. So that's what I'm doing whenever I try to minimize the residual sum of squares, which can be written as the sum of our residuals squared, which if you remember, this sigma just means add up all the values. So you have your residuals di, you square each of them, and then you just add them together. Now, one other point I wanted to make really quickly is that this regression line is sometimes referred to as the line of best fit, because this criteria of minimizing our sum of squares is a method to find the best fit line, the line that best fits this data by having the lowest amount of error. How do we actually find this formula that describes this line that we're looking at to best fit our data? Well, first what we're going to do is we're going to start with our basic function to describe a line. Y equals mx plus b, where m is going to be the slope of our line, and b is going to be our y-intercept. Now, you may know this from other classes, but then how do we actually find this? Well, if you had two data points, you can actually figure this out pretty easily. First, by figuring out what our slope is, where our slope is going to be the change in y divided by the change in x, which really just means y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. I want to give a brief description, though, of why this is, in case anyone doesn't really remember. So let's say that you have 2 points, x1, y1, and x2, y2. And you want to know what is the distance between these points. So whenever you're doing this slope, you're finding the distance between these points by taking the point x2 and you're finding what is the distance to 0. And you're finding the point x1 and you're subtracting that off. And that will give you the difference in our x's. And then similarly, for our y values, we're going to take y2 and y1. So we'll take y2 to 0, subtract off everything below y1, and you'll be left with the change in y. And this is how, again, we're getting our slope, which is going to be rise over run, right? The change of y over the change of x. And that's really all it's giving you. So at this point, you would have your slope m. If you knew what this is, you can plug it into your formula here. And then you can use one of these points by plugging in your x and your y value, allowing you to solve for the y-intercept. So what is the y-intercept? The y-intercept, b, is just what your value will be when x is equal to 0. Looking at our linear regression, we're going to have some line that describes the data. So what we're saying is when x is equal to 0, what is the y value that we would get, right? And by plugging into y equals mx plus b, if we plug 0 in for x, this whole term will go to 0, leaving us just y equals b. So that is where the linear regression will cross your y-axis. Looking at this slide, we can see an example of a linear regression. We have y equals 2x plus 1. So if we wanted to graph this, first thing we need our xy plane. So we have x's on our horizontal plane, we have y's on our vertical plane. In this case, I'm going to set my x-axis, so it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And on the y-axis, I'll do something similar. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by first putting my y-intercept, right? When x is equal to 0, y is going to be equal to 1. So I'm going to put a dot here. And then my slope is 2, meaning I'm going to rise over run. So you could think of this 2 as a 2 over 1. So I'm going to go up 2, 1, 2, and I'm going to go over 1. And then if I wanted to, I could add more points by doing the same thing. We'll go up 2, go over 1. But pretty much all you need is 2 data points in order to create your line. So then I'll just create my line that goes through these points. And now I've got my linear regression based on this formula for my line, right? I've got a slope of 2 and a y-intercept of 1. In statistics, though, we're going to be doing things a little bit differently, because what I was just showing you is how you would do it algebraically if you had 2 points. If you want to find the line between 2 points, you just figure out what is the straight line that goes from one point to another, giving you the shortest distance between them. But a lot of times when we have data in statistics, we're not going to have nice, clean data that can go through all the lines. So how would I do that if I have data like this, right? If I connect 2 points, none of these would represent the best fit line. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to use all of our data points when we're calculating our best fit line to figure out what it is. So the equation of a regression line allows us to use our independent or explanatory variables, that's our x values, to then make predictions about what our y values would be by finding this line that best describes the data in general, instead of giving us a line that describes the distance from 2 points. To begin with, we are going to start with a similar equation that we had before, except for now, it's going to be y hat equals mx plus b. Because this y is not just the outcome y value, it's a predicted value. And if you recall, hat is just a way of saying that if we have some parameter, in this case y hat would be the point estimate that is predicting y. That is to say, the y value you get from your line, not from the actual data point, right? So this would be y hat, this would be y for point 1. The slope is going to be a little bit more complicated though. So the slope for this is going to be m equals n times the sum of x times y minus the sum of x times the sum of y divided by n times the sum of x's squared minus the sum of my x's squared. Now for now, we're not going to really discuss how this is calculated, but I may do a video later on where I'll talk about this. But pretty much what's going to happen is you're going to be solving this in terms of your slope and the difference between your predicted value and your actual value, right? Your y minus y hat. You're going to use this, and then you're going to take the partial derivative with respect to b and the partial derivative with respect to the slope m. From there, you'll have a system of equations, and then you can solve for slope. So in another video, I may go into more detail, but for this introduction, just know that this is how we calculate our slope, where n is the number of our data pairs, x1, y1, x2, y2, up to xn, yn. Sum of xy, just like when we're doing correlation coefficient, you take every x value and multiply it by its corresponding y value, add those up. Sum of your x's, add up your x's. Sum of your y's, add up your y's. And then n times the sum of x squared minus, and then you take the sum of your x's, just like we have here, and you square those values. Our y-intercept is actually going to be using this up here, same idea. We have y equals mx plus b, except for in this case, we're not using a single x or y value, so we're going to use the average of those values to kind of describe it. And again, I'll show the calculation to this in another video, but for the simplest intuitive case, it's kind of like this. Solve for b by dividing both sides by m, or subtracting m x bar, and you end up with b is equal to y bar minus mx bar, where y bar is just going to be the sum of your y's over the total number n, and then minus m, and then x bar is going to be the sum of your x's divided by your number n. It's the mean of your y's and the mean of your x's. One other factor that I wanted to mention, and while we're doing this though, is that your linear regression line will always pass through the point x bar, y bar, meaning that if you figure out what the average of your x's are, or the mean, and you figure out what the mean of your y's are, it will always pass through that point, x bar, y bar. In this example, we have an n of 10, a sum of x of 25.7, a sum of y of 5,269.5, a sum of xy, which is equal to 16,687.99, and a sum of our x's squared equals 82.81. This is from the example we did in 9.1, where we had the 10 countries based on their GDP and their CO2 emissions. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to figure out what is the slope of our best fit line or regression line. So if you remember, our m is going to be equal to n times sum of xy minus the sum of x times the sum of y divided by n times the sum of x squared minus the sum of x's squared. And we're going to plug each of these values in. By the way, this is why we didn't include the sum of y squared from that prior example, because we don't need it for this. So in this case, we had 10 data points, so we're going to plug in 10 for n. Our sum of xy is equal to 16,687.99 minus the sum of our x's, 25.7, times the sum of our y's, 5,269.5. All of this divided by n, again, which is 10, times the sum of our x's squared, which would be 82.81, minus the sum of our x's, 25.7, squared. You do all these calculations, and we end up getting a value of 187.660. And we'll round it to 3 decimal places for this problem. Next, we're going to find our y-intercept, which is equal to b is equal to the mean of y minus m times the mean of x. Now in this case, we're going to be using the sum of y over n minus m times the sum of our x's over n. Well, we just figured out what m was. It's 187.66. So we're going to plug in sum of y, which we said was equal to 5,269.5 divided by n, which we said was 10, minus m, which is 187.66 times the sum of my x's, 25.7, divided by n, which is equal to 10. And then doing this, I'm going to get a value of 44.663. So now I have my best fit line, which I can write as y hat equals, and I've got my m, 187.66 x sub I plus 44.663. To sketch this regression line, we would then need to have our data points on some xy plane. And then we're going to have, right, I'll have our data points something like this. Our x and y scale can be based on our actual data. And then what we're going to do is we're going to start with our y-intercept, which would be 44.63. So let's say that 44.63 is here. And we would just do rise over run until we get whatever the line would be that gives us our regression line. And just as a reminder from what we talked about earlier, if we wanted a particular point on the line, we know that this will cross through the point x bar, y bar. And to find this point, we would just need to figure out what the mean of x is, which is just going to be x bar equals the sum of x over n. And we need the mean of our y, which is just going to be the sum of our y's over n, which if you remember, we actually just did when we were calculating our y-intercept. So we actually should already have these values from when we did that calculation. A couple important points that you need to consider when doing a regression line is that when our correlation between x and y is significant, then this equation of a regression line can be used to predict our y values for certain values of x. Now, when I say certain values for x, that is to say that our prediction values are only really meaningful for x values that are in or close to the range of data that we actually have. Meaning that if I have values of x that are between 1 and 15, it doesn't really make sense for me to make a prediction up somewhere like 34 or something like that. I need to be limited to, again, on or within or near those x values that I actually have. Because the further you get from our data, the less reliable this line will become for prediction. So to predict our y values, what we're going to do is we're just going to substitute in the x value of interest into our regression line equation. So in this case, you would substitute in your x right here, and you would get some predicted y value associated with it. Looking at this slide of the data from the example we just did with those 10 data points for the country's GDP versus their CO2 emissions, you can see that the range of our x values goes from about 0.9 up to 5.4. So if you were somewhere in that range, 0.7, 0.8, up to 5.5, 5.6, as long as you're kind of close to that range of x values, then your prediction should be pretty solid. Otherwise, the further you get out, the less reliable it will be. Before we did this linear regression for this data, we actually first checked though to make sure that our correlation between the x and y variables was significant. If this is not true for your data, then the best predicted y value that you can use is going to be y bar. That is the mean of your y values. Because without that significance, we can't really say that that line would be very predictive. So therefore, the best we can do is just, from the data we have, use our average value, which would be our unbiased estimator for the data. Thank you for watching. To continue learning, click the linked video here for the next lesson. If there's a topic you'd like me to cover, let me know in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.